Hello, it is hello. It is 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight headlines we have the official closure of the Tigra project to strengthen reading in primary schools. For the international scene, Israel continues to bomb Lebanon. Welcome to our newsroom. The President of the National Assembly, His Excellency Dileta Mohammed Dileta, received this Tuesday, September 24, 2024, the courtesy visit of the new Food Agriculture Organization representative, Nyarko Badou. Taking the floor, the President of the Parliament first welcomed the FAO representative while expressing the wish that cooperation between the UN structures and the National Assembly would always be at a high level. The meeting was an opportunity for both personalities to review the cooperation between the national representatives and the Food Agriculture Organization. In addition, in view of his knowledge of the environment and the challenges facing the Republic of Djibouti, and especially given the global context of global warming, the President of the National Assembly expressed the view that it was essential for the Djiboutian people to adapt their activities to the issues and priorities of the Djiboutian people. Cooperation will continue according to the commitment expressed by the Food Agriculture Organization representative in the Republic of Djibouti, who specified that all interventions will be carried out according to the priorities defined by the Djiboutian government. The UN agency remains entirely at the Djibouti's disposal to receive guidance for all actions to be carried out in the field of agriculture and rural development for ipso facto food security. In the same vein, the President of the National Assembly, Dileta Mohammed Dileta, underlined the importance of orienting the population towards sustainable agricultural practices in order to further mitigate the pressure generated by the climate changes which generally affect many vulnerable groups. During their missions to South Africa, the Minister of Justice Ali Hassan Bahdoun and his delegation were invited to the Chargé d'Affaires of the Arab League in Pretoria, Mr. Ahmed Naji Bakal, to dinner with the ambassador of the Arab countries, accompanied by the President of the National Human Rights Commission, Ali Subani Ateye, his technical advisor, Mohammed Adan Jama, and our Pan-African Member of Parliament, Honorable Mahmoud Mustafa, who chairs the digital subcommittees of the African Parliament. The minister was warmly welcomed by Mr. Ahmed Naji Bakal, and Mr. Bakal is originally from Djibouti. Seasoned diplomat, he has been active in multilateral diplomacy for over a decade. This important meeting was chaired by the ambassador of the United Arab Emirates, Mahasha Said Al Hamili, Dean of the Ambassador to South Africa. 20 of the 22 ambassadors from Arab countries were present at the invitation of Mr. Ahmed Naji Bakal, Chargé d'Affaires of the Arab League, speaking at the start of the dinner. The Emirati Ambassador, Dean of the Arab Ambassador to South Africa, welcomed the Minister of Justice and his delegation. He said that the important meeting was a unique opportunity to dialogue with all the ambassadors of the Arab countries, together with a distinguished representative of the government of the Republic of Djibouti, which currently holds presidency of IGAD. During this convivial dinner, the ambassador and the minister exchanged the view of a number of topical national and international issues. In particular, they discussed the candidacy of our Ministers of Foreign Affairs, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, for the presidency of the Pan-African Union. The ambassador of the Arab League showed their solidarity by offering their good offices to secure the vote of the Southern Africa key states in this important process, because they are all English-speaking. On to New York for the Summit of the Future, where Djibouti's head of diplomacy, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, painted vivid pictures of the challenges facing Africa on the international stages, with the burden of death weighing heavily on the shoulders of the African nations. He called for an urgent awareness of the structural injustices that exacerbate this crisis. Mr. Yusuf stressed that the situation is exacerbated by unfair trade regimes and political conditionalities that erode states' rooms for maneuver in a world where crises follow one another with disconcertance. For his part, the Minister of Foreign Affairs Mahmoud Ali Yusuf pronounces in his speeches that remain largely inadequate given to the scale the global financial system is. He declared that has failed to provide. In his speech, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, has failed to provide a sufficient social safety net for developing countries. Happy the truth that resonate particularly for the African continent, whose voices Mahmoud Ali Yusuf called for the greater mobilization of the international finance.
Mr. President, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, at the outset, allow me to express our profound gratitude to the co-facilitators, Germany and our own Namibia, for masterfully steering the work that led to the adoption of a bold and ambitious Pact of the Future. While recognizing the many challenges and the constraints that our organization faces, we indeed agree that we are at a moment of hope and opportunity. We're all by now acutely aware of the risks that erosion of multilateralism entails and the cost of inaction. We are grateful for the Secretary General's contribution and the elaboration of the landmark report, Our Common Agenda, as well as the various thematic policy briefs in response to the request by world leaders. The ideas and insights contained in this report offered a useful basis for discussions among member states. We can't thank him enough for sharing his vision for a better, more integrated and more impactful and more networked multilateralism. Mr. President, it is imperative, urgent and crucial that we achieve consensus on a set of measures which can advance global governance that is fit for the future. Djibouti and indeed African countries shared with UN member states our vision for our continent renaissance and roadmap for realizing it. We have worked off that same map while engaging in negotiations on the Summit of the Future with member states. The ambition we have is that of a United Nations that plays a leading and strengthened role. We envision the reform of global governance to be bold and transformative. The international financial architecture must address existing inequities and be better aligned with today's world. Mr. President, the past decades have aggravated inequality between nations. We must collectively recommit to the Charter of the United Nations, in particular its purposes and principles, and reaffirm the primacy of conflict prevention and peaceful settlement of disputes. We must reject power politics and promote adherence to the Charter, specifically respect for sovereignty, territorial integrity, unity, and political independence of UN member states in our efforts to maintain international peace and security. The concerns that have motivated the Charter remain salient today, over 7 decades later. The eruption of new crises in many places in the world, the challenges the world faces in the global arms control and non-proliferation, emerging threats, including the use of nuclear weapons, is today a reality. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, the reform of the UN Security Council must be accelerated. As part of the new order, we are aiming to make that body more representative and rectify the injustice done to Africa and other regional groups. I thank you for your attention.
On the sidelines of the 79th United Nations General Assembly, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, had a fruitful meeting yesterday in New York with Molly Fee, Assistant Secretary of the Bureau of the African Affairs of the U.S. Department of State. This exchange provided an opportunity to discuss issues of common interests, including the security situation in the Horn of Africa and bilateral relations between Djibouti and U.S. The discussion has highlighted the importance of increasing the cooperation to ensure regional stability and address security challenges. Minister Yusuf took this opportunity to call on the United States to redouble its efforts to support Djibouti's initiative aimed at promoting sustainable economic and social development. He expressed the need for strengthening the partnership to address regional threat and security. This meeting marks a new step in the strengthening of relations between Djibouti and U.S., two countries committed to promoting security, peace, and development in East Africa. Last night, the Saudi Embassy in Djibouti organized a reception ceremony at the Campus Key Hotel to celebrate the anniversary of the National Day of the Kingdoms of the Saudi Arabia. The event was attended by the President of the National Assembly, Dileita Mohammed Dileita, and several members of the government, including the Minister of Muslim Affairs and Waqf, Momin Hassan Barre. Also present were leading civilians and military figures, as well as an elite group of businessmen and representatives of non-governmental organizations. The distinguished guests were warmly welcomed by the ambassador of His Majesty, the King of the two holy mosques in Djibouti, Mr. Faisal bin Sultan Al-Qabbani, surrounded by his closest collaborator. Bilateral relations between the Kingdom and Djibouti represent an outstanding example of constructive cooperation with strong historical, cultural, and economic ties between the two countries. This relations has given rise to the numerous development and investment projects reflecting the determinations of the leaders of both countries to strengthen these ties in order to realize the aspirations of hope of the two brotherly peoples. It should be noted that the celebration of the Kingdom's 97th national anniversary provides an opportunity to highlight the Kingdom's journey and evolutions in various fields, notably through Vision 2030, which has enabled Saudi Arabia to achieve significant advances in economic and social development while strengthening its position as a regional and global power in many areas. On this occasion, the ambassador of His Majesty, the King of the two holy places in Djibouti, Mr. Faisal bin Sultan Al-Qabbani, expressed the kingdom's pride in its deep strategic relationship with Djibouti. Every year, the anniversary of the national holidays reminds us of this major historical event. On September 19, 1982, 32, the royal orders was issued proclaiming the unifications of the countries as kingdoms of Saudi Arabia. This was the day when the founder, King Abdulaziz bin Abdul Rahman, united these great countries under the banner of unity. The kingdom has become one of the world's leading nations, influencing global security and stability thanks to its strategic position, spiritual weight, and economic importance, which have enabled it to rank among the world's largest economy, as well as being members of the G20. Moreover, God has honored the kingdoms by establishing it as the guardians of the two holy places, making it the Qibla for Muslims, devoting all necessary resources to caring for the holy sites and offering comfort and security to pilgrims. He also took the opportunity to salute this of the historic and fraternal relations between the two countries, Saudi Arabia and the Republic of Djibouti, which continue to distinguish it and prosper day after day in all files. For his part, the Minister Momin Hassan Barre affirmed the importance of these historic and fraternal relations that united Djibouti and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, asserting the strong ties between the two countries based on mutual cooperation in the religious, cultural, and economic files on the occasions of the 94th Saudi Arabia national anniversary. On these occasions, on behalf of the government, he offered his most sincere congratulations and best wishes to the kingdoms of Saudi Arabia, its leadership and its people, wishing further achievement and prosperity under the wise leadership of His Majesty King Salman bin Abdul Aziz and his heir Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Relations between Djibouti and Saudi Arabia are a model of fraternity and fruitful cooperation at all levels, supported His Excellency President Ismail Margele and the King of the two holy places. We are proud today of the strong ties that unite our two countries based on mutual respect and shared interests. Yesterday, September 23, 2024, the closing ceremony of the Basic Education Reading Reinforcement Project, commonly known as DIGRA in English, was held at the Sheraton Hotel. This event, organized by the Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training in collaboration with the marks of the completions of the key initiative to education, chaired by Mr. Mohammed Abdallah Mahyoub, Secretary General of the MENFOP, in the presence of the Sharjah Affair of the United States Embassy. The ceremony brought together senior MENFOPs officials, USAID representatives, members of the teaching staffs, as well as representatives of parents association and the school management committees, following the speeches by the officials, a presentation of the project and a film retracing the project's journeys, as well as the three key components that structured its development were screened at the beginning of the ceremony. The film, rich in images and testimonies, allowed participants to relive the highlights of the initiatives, illustrating the progress made and the significant impact on students and communities. The DIGRA project, carried out from 2019-2024, has significantly improved the reading skills of primary school students grade 1 to 5. More than 1,000 teachers have been trained in reading instructions. 55 parent-teacher associations have had their capacity strengthened, and more than 200,000 educational books have been published in line with the Djiboutian educational reforms and the new curriculum inspired by the French system. The project also focused on community awareness raising by strengthening the capacity of the civil society organization, with the programs aimed at promoting reading through increased community engagement. As for the Charge d'Affaires of the Embassy of the U.S., Mr. Christopher Snipes highlighted that 55,000 primary school children benefited from the project. Listen for more details.
Aujourd'hui, pour cette clôture, nous devrions tous retenir le chiffre est 55 000. C'est le nombre d'enfants qui ont bénéficié.
For his part, the Secretary General of MENFOP, Mohammed Abdallah Mahyoub, expressed his great satisfaction regarding the DIGRA project, which was part of the programs dedicated to readings and strengthening readings in primary school. He stressed that this project contributes not only to improving the quality of education, but also to the deep commitment of the essential partners to support and strengthen the educational system. Led by Mr. Samatar Abdi Osman, Director General of the Center for Technology and Innovation for the Development, CTID, these teams will take part in the international robotic competition, bringing together teams of young people from more than 190 countries to solve global challenges through science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. These 4 young hopeful of our nations for this competition were selected during a caravan carried out on all secondary schools in the countries, equipped with an innovative robot designed by these students and their coach to meet the technical challenges related to this team, particularly in terms of water management, harvest optimizations, and sustainability. These students will participate in competitions on robotic and technological innovation. When they left the airport in the presence of their parents who came to encourage their children, some of them reacted on the RTD's microphone and expressed their pride in representing their countries in the international robotic competitions. To suggest you, Mr. Samatar Abdi Osman, Director General of the CTID, said that he is very happy to lead a team of very talented students to represent our countries in the international robotic competition in Athens. Today, Monday, 23 September, Ms. Falhi Alwan, Director of Health and Social Development of IGAD, visited Dakhil to share the opening ceremony of the an inter-country cross-border meeting between Ethiopia and Djibouti in Dakhil, welcomed with great pomp by the prefect of the Dakhil region, Hassan Abdi Roble. Shortly after their arrival, the Ethiopia-Djibouti and inter-cross-border meeting opened, organized by IGAD in partnership with the Global Fund. This meeting aims to assess the progress made in the implementations of the action plan, resulting from health to launch a meeting between experts from the ministries of health and of the two countries around the central theme of cooperation and collaboration of health systems in marginal cross-border area to effectively combat tuberculosis and malaria. Beyond a deficit in health coverage along these cross-border areas, the national authorities at the summit of the members that have endowed IGAD with the privilege of being able, through its regional mandate, to intervene directly in the cross-border areas in order to expand and strengthen the interventions of national health systems in this area. The Director of the Health and Social Development, the Deputy of IGAD, and the Deputy Governors of Dakhil, Yusuf Ali Iyan, the representative of the Ethiopian Minister of Health, Tilay Godinar, sponsored the opening ceremony of the Ethiopia-Djibouti inter-country cross-border meeting. For his part, the prefect of the Dakhil has indicated that to welcome the participant, finally wished full success to the work of this intra and inter-country cross-border meeting between Ethiopia and Djibouti. In a word delivered on this occasion, the Fathi Alwan indicated that this IGAD was started its cross-border meetings in Djibouti, which is hosting and chairs IGAD. She also recalled that the cross-border meeting in Dakhil is an opportunity to assess the progress made by Djibouti in implementing the action plan. For the international scene in Gaza, the daily wait for humanitarian aid in Dar al-Balah camps in Gaza. Welcome. Listen to this report.
In the Deir al-Balah camp in Gaza, thousands of displaced Palestinians wait in the hope every day for the distribution of food and water. These products, which are essential, their survival come mainly from the humanitarian and delivered over the past few months. However, the situation is because the United Nations, the conflict has displaced 19% of Gaza's Palestinians, most of who have taken refuge in the camp in the center and south of the enclave.
The bombing in northeast Lebanon, the Israeli airstrike has continued its bombing.
The official Lebanese news agency ANI reported that the Israeli fighters just launched raids on the town of Baalbek and the localities of the Deir ez-Zor. Azili and the churches located in the governorate of the Baalbek. The same source reported that the entire families were dismayed and the Israel bomber accommodated the displaced. At dawn on Tuesday, Israel aircraft pounded thousands of Lebanese, particularly the village of Kafar Doum and Sultania, as well as the area between the during the Israeli army has launched the intensive attack on the Lebanon since clash with Hezbollah began around a year ago.
And to close up this edition, mass exodus of Lebanese after deadly Israeli strike. Israeli strikes killed more than 180 Lebanese.
Israelis killed more than 118 Lebanese on Monday, the details bombardment since the 2006 war between Israel and Hezbollah. The Israel army warned residents of the southern eastern Lebanon to evacuate their homes before the air week deadly attack on the communication equipment. The government ordered that the closure of the schools and universities on the most of the country on the Tuesday and began preparing shelters for displaced people in the south.
And this is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.